Hello and welcome back to this tutorial on creating a simple PHP strategy game. In this part of the tutorial we are going to continue our messaging system so that players will be able to view the messages that have been sent to them as well as reply to those messages. So as we can see here, we had just sent our message, and in the database we can see the message ID, who it's going to, who it's from, the subject, the message, and whether it's been seen or not. In this case, if it hasn't been seen, we count that as 0. So if we go back to our source code, here is everything from the send_pm.php page. If we want to create an inbox that will display all the messages being sent to a user, we will first go to the I apologize, I'm blanking. It is the header, I believe. Yes, the header page. This is where we include the navigation if they're logged in, or the login box if they're logged out. So what we will do is, under here we can say, and Rackwell, add in an anchor tag. This will be to inbox.php, and this will say inbox, and we will add in 2 break lines. So if we go back to our page here, if we click on your stats, we can see that the inbox link is now here. If we click on it, obviously the page has not been made yet. So if we go back to our test.php page, copy and paste this, and we create the new file of inbox.php, and we double click on that and we paste this in. Now if we go back to our browser, now we have this, a blank page. One thing I will actually add to the send PM page, sorry about the mic, is if we go to just a random page, for example train units, and we take this line right here, which is the title and a break line, we can go to send_PM, and we can set the title to be send message. We can do the same thing for inbox, which we will get to later on, but if we go back here and if we choose a random player and we say send PM, now we have the send message title. So that looks a little bit nicer. So what we will do is we will go and do this. Hold on, let me just check one thing. So one thing I actually forgot to mention is this whole check to see if the user is logged in or not. I apologize, it's been a while. So first what we will do is we will add this in here, and we can actually drag this down towards the bottom. We will take this and we will tab it once. So now if they're not logged in, they can't actually view this page, so they have to be logged in before they can send a message. So likewise with this we can do here. So if they're not logged in and we try to visit the inbox, it will give us an error message. So first what we will do here is add the closing and opening PHP tag, and we will actually copy the title again from here, and this will say inbox. So if we refresh the page, now we have the inbox title right here. If we go back here, we will begin to get all the messages that are to us. So in here, what we can do is we can say get MSGS for get messages, and this will be a MySQL query of select star from tilde PM tilde where 2 is equal to, and here we will add in the double quotes and periods, and we will add session UID. We add our or die MySQL error and the semicolon to end the line. So what we're doing is right now we're selecting all the messages that are to us. What we'll actually want to do now is sort them by date and limit them to the last, we'll say 50. So at the end here we say sort by, and this will be, we don't actually have a date. So what we will do is we will add the date here, DESC for descending, since we want the most recent ones first, and we'll add a limit of 50 here. So what we have to do is go back into our database structure, and we can add, after the message, we'll add one column. We will call this date, standard length of 10, integer, and unsigned. So if we save this, so now we have the date here. So I have added in the date, which is just a random timestamp from right now. So what we will actually have to do is go back into our send_PM page and into this line. So we will actually add in between message and scene, we will add the date with tildes, and then here we will add in a time function, and don't forget the semicolon in between. So this will take the current timestamp and put it into the database. So now if we go to inbox here, and we can see we're sorting by the date, descending, so the most recent ones first, and then we're limiting it to 50. Actually, we need a T there, sorry. So if we go to inbox here and we refresh the page, we can see that we have an issue. So if we go back here, this should not actually be sort, my apologies, it should be order by date. And as we can see, the error has disappeared. It pays to know these things off the top of your head, but we all get a little rusty at times. So now that we have the MySQL query, we will first do the check to say if MySQL numRows of get messages is equal to 0. What we'll just do, we'll add in those else there, and we can just echo you have no messages. Plain and simple, they don't have any messages to you. If we refresh the page, you have no messages. So what I will actually do is log out. I will go into account 1, and if I go to inbox, the message isn't displayed because he has a message in here. So now what we have to do is go back to here, and in this else section is where we will begin to print out all the messages. So now we will add a while loop and say while message is equal to MySQL fetch assoc of get messages. This will loop through all the messages that we have, and what we will do is we will echo out a bold tag saying from rather, colon, space, And then in here, as a placeholder, we will say get username as a comment. Then we will echo out B, and this will be subject colon, ending the bold tags. Here we will echo out, actually we will add a space here first, and we will echo out message, bracket, single quotes, subject, and the subject should be displayed here. We will actually add a period, space, and then a break line so that it goes on to the next page. And then we will echo, have our bold tags, and say message, add a space there, end that, and we will echo message, and then the actual message. And then, see, we will add in the break line just to ensure that we have that there. So if I go back to the page here, we can see from here we don't have the username yet. Subject, hello, message, hi there, how are you? I'm good. I'm a little tired. It's been a long day. So now if we actually go back to our source code, we have to get the username. So what we will do is we will delete this comment and we will say get user, and we will say MySQL query select username from user where ID is equal to message, and this is from. And then we add our or die MySQL error. It should be error. Thank you. So now we have the user, and again we are assuming that the user is valid, otherwise we can always throw in a check here. So we can say user username is equal to MySQL fetch assoc from get user. So here we will echo username bracket username, and we'll add in the break line. So now we're going to echo out their username and return the line. So if we refresh the page here, from copophobia, subject hello, message hi there, how are you? So now what we can do is at the end of this we can say echo HR and then add a break line. So this will add in a long line right here, so that way we can continue on to the message after it. So one thing what we will also do is now check to see, since this is a new message, we should probably put something here next to the inbox that says you have a new message. So what we will do is we will go to our header page, and what we will do here is we will add some PHP tags, and we will say this will be this will be $, get PMs, and we will say MySQL query select, we'll just select the ID from PM where 2 is equal to session UID. So we're selecting all the messages, actually, and we should add the and scene is equal to 0. SQL error. So here we're selecting just the IDs. We don't really care since we're trying to see if there is a new message from PM where 2 is equal to our user ID and seen is 0. So if we have a message that isn't seen, we want to grab that. So now we can say if MySQL numRows of get PMs is greater than 0, we want to echo out, have a little font color is equal to, we can say red, add the bold tag and say new, add the closing tags, and then leave that there. So if there is new messages, MySQL numRows will return more than 0, in which case they have a new message and we want to show that. So if you go to the main status page, we can see here new, so that means that there's new messages, in which case this one. So now that we've visited the inbox, we need to see about being able to set all of the seen values to 0, or to 1 rather. So if we go to inbox, we can go down to here outside of this while loop, and what we will do is set underscore seen is equal to MySQL query of update PM set seen is equal to 1, where 2 is equal to our session ID. So our UID. So now what will happen is they will view this page and all the messages that were unseen or unread will now be read. So first, if we go back here, we can verify that seen is still 0. So if we go to inbox, it still says new because that was set there before we actually viewed the messages, but now seen is equal to 1. And if we were to refresh this, that new message is gone because we've already seen the message. So what we will do is we will add in a link here. What this will do is reply.php, and we'll have the ID being hold on. We will have the ID being equal to the message ID, and then we will have the reply there. So this way we'll have the reply page, which will let us reply to the message, and we'll have the message ID being the message that we want to grab last. So if we see, if we go back here, so now that we have our reply link, we can go ahead and deal with actually replying to the messages. I actually decided the easiest way to do this would be to not create a reply page and just use the original send underscore pm.php, and instead of the message ID, we want to have the from ID. So this way we're sending a message to the person who we just got the message from. So if we go back here, we can see that we are now sending the message to Copophobia, who the message was from. So if we can type in whatever we want. I am doing well. How about yourself? If we send the message, we can see that the message has been sent. So if we log out of account-1 and we log back into Copophobia, now we see that we have a new message in the inbox. If we click on it, we can see I'm doing well, how about yourself? So once again, if I say if I send a message back to account 1 and we log out and we go back into account 1, we see we have a new message, and as we can see, this is the most recent message and this is the first message that we sent. So now they are sent in order. If I were to do this process 50 some odd times, you would see that this message here would be not deleted, but it just wouldn't be shown since we have a limit of 50 messages. So this concludes the tutorial for sending messages and viewing messages.